Let me be clear. The violence we saw yesterday at our nation's capital was appalling, reprehensible, and antithetical to the American way.
Just moments ago, White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany making the first television appearance from anyone at the White House since rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday. McEnany condemned the riots while comparing them to rioters who set fire to St. John's Episcopal Church across from the White House last summer. She did not take any questions from reporters. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi tonight calling for President's removal from office.
The President has committed an unspeakable assault on our nation and our people. I join the Senate Democratic leader in calling on the Vice President to remove this president by immediately invoking the 25th Amendment. If the Vice President and Cabinet do not act, the Congress may be prepared to move forward with impeachment.
Strong words today from the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, following yesterday's riot at the U.S. Capitol. Tonight, several Congress members calling for the immediate removal of President Trump before his term ends on January 20th. They are demanding the Vice President invoke the 25th Amendment, or the House will move forward with impeachment. Pelosi is also calling for the Chief of the Capitol Police to resign and says that the House Sergeant at Arms also plans to step down. New tonight, head of Capitol Police Union is calling for that chief to resign, saying the riot showed a failure of leadership at the very top. Mainly officials want to know how these rioters, take a look at this video right here, were able to get so deep into buildings. And this video may give us a hint. We're looking at a video that shows what appears to show Capitol Police falling back and allowing protesters through the barricade. According to the person who shot this footage, Marcus DePola, police moved those barricades well after the building was being stormed. Some on social media have claimed this video is evidence police allowed this riot to happen. We have been following this, and we have team coverage on the attack on Capitol Hill. Mid-Michigan Now's Bria Jones is talking to local lawmakers, and Remy Murray has the reaction from Flint Black Lives Matter. We'll get back to them in just a moment. We begin our team coverage with Mid-Michigan Now anchor Stephanie Parkinson. She talked with Congressman Dan Kildee a short time ago. Steph, what are his thoughts on impeachment tonight?
Well, Dave, I just spoke with Congressman Kildee a few hours ago now, and he told me they were in the very early stages at that point of getting an article of impeachment together in the U.S. House against President Donald Trump. But he said unless they can get Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's support, the House likely is not going to move forward with this. While McConnell and several other Republican lawmakers have denounced the violence at the U.S. Capitol and the destruction too there, and they did so right away, we have yet to see many join from the Republican Party in this support for this removal of the president from office.
It doesn't do the country any good for the House to pass an article of impeachment and the Senate fail to do anything about it. The only, at this point, unless it results in the removal of Donald Trump from office, it doesn't really achieve anything.
And Kildee tells me he's not yet heard if McConnell would support this article of impeachment against President Trump. Meanwhile, both Democratic senators from Michigan, Gary Peters and Debbie Stabenow, say they are in support of either impeachment or invoking the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from office. And meanwhile, the magnitude of what happened yesterday at the U.S. Capitol, it's still sinking in for Congressman Dan Kildee. When I spoke with him, he told me that while he was not physically injured by anyone, today has been very difficult for him, both emotionally and physically as well, too, following the storming of the U.S. Capitol.
When the attackers came in, and like sort of a reaction to the adrenaline rush that I went through, but my body is physically really sore. My knees, I know what it comes from for my knees. I had to spend a lot of time on the marble floor, and all my weight was on my knees for a while. But it's more of a psychological and emotional reaction right now, but I'm feeling the physical aspect of it too.
Kildee tells me while he's shocked and appalled at what happened at the U.S. Capitol yesterday, he's proud of the lawmakers for returning and certifying the election. Kildee says that is proof that this violent group he calls terrorists didn't win. And just hours after what happened at the U.S. Capitol, then this morning, the Michigan State Capitol was closed. It was after a bomb threat was allegedly reported. Mid-Michigan Now reporter Bria Jones has been talking with representatives in Lansing. And Bria, what are they saying to you today?
Well, Stephanie, I spoke with legislators on both sides of the aisle to get their take on the riots at the U.S. Capitol and threats made today in Lansing. Michigan State Police gave the all clear around 6:40 this morning after they say a male caller threatened to bomb the state capitol. Democrat Representative Tim Sneller from the Grand Blanc area tells me it's a sad day when you can't go to work and be safe. He says threats in Lansing aren't anything new, but he's shocked by the chaos at the U.S. Capitol. I also spoke with House Republican David Martin, who represents the Davison area. He says the attacks at the Capitol were unfortunate, but most of the people there had good intentions.
Usually when the sun starts to set, that's when things break out. I think for the most part, the people that were truly there to support their belief, they're just afraid of what the country's going to become if there's the far left agenda comes in.
It's happening much too often in Lansing. And in Washington, what I saw on TV was just jaw-dropping, just stunning that this could happen, in my opinion, in the greatest country on earth.
Sneller says that he wants to work with the State Capitol Commission to discuss a ban on weapons, while Martin tells me that people have a right to defend themselves. For now, reporting live in Flint, Bria Jones, Mid-Michigan Now.
No one can tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol.
President-elect Biden slamming police for what he said is their different treatment at the nation's capital. Officials here in Flint say they too are still in shock following that unfolding chaos. Mid-Michigan Now's Remy Murray joins us live from the Flint Police Department. Remy, you talked with Flint Police Chief Terrence Green. What was his reaction when he saw all of that chaos unfold?
Right, Dave. Police Chief Terrence Green says he felt disgusted when he saw the images and videos on his television screen. He says that anyone who entered the Capitol building should have been immediately arrested for going inside without permission. Now, Green, making sure not to speak on behalf of other law enforcement agencies, says when officers saw the scene starting to escalate, their mission should have been to protect those working inside to certify election results. Green understands this could have been difficult to enforce due to the overwhelming number of people present and not enough officers available to handle the situation. However, the chief says he and his department will use this experience as a learning lesson just in case similar events happen in Flint.
It was just one of those situations. I don't know how much planning and preparation went behind for the law enforcement officer responsible for public safety, but it was just a situation, I think, unfolded and escalated so quickly that they were unable to manage it properly.
Now, coming up at 10 and 11, we'll explain the importance of mobilization, which is to help ensure public safety. We'll also share the perspective from local community activists on what they call a double standard in America. But for now, live here in Flint, Remy Murray, Mid-Michigan Now.